Who would you guys say?
I'm kind of on the Ranger deal as well. I think as you mentioned, all these teams here in the Metroplex right now, well positioned. It's early, obviously, in the Stars season and the Mavericks, but early returns are pretty dang good. And then the Cowboys, I have more optimism right now than I did certainly a few weeks ago about the Cowboys after the performance that they put together over the weekend and some of the changes they've made. So feel good about all these teams, but I would definitely be betting on the Rangers to do it again before any other of these teams.
I think the Stars could do it this year. I really do. They made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. I think that they've got an even deeper team now. They're so good when it comes to faceoffs. The question was, would they improve defensively? And I think their defensive pairings, if you can find a way to get Suter out of there eventually and you bring up one of their young guys in the AHL that they have, I think the Stars are a team that is built to make a legitimate run, and they've got a chance to go win a Stanley Cup this season.
I think so. Vegas favors the Stars. I think the Mavs need a trade, but they have young players to make a trade. Like, if you wanted to put Hardy and Green and Lively into play right now, it's kind of exciting because I like the Rangers' core, and I could say they don't really need either of those three guys to be a playoff team now because of the kind of veterans they brought in. I think the Mavs could make a trade and be in position, but still, you're looking at so many teams, including the Nuggets, that you would have to jump, and that's a big gap. And then how good are the Bucks going to be in the Heat and Boston? It's tough to get through that. We just saw the Rangers do it, and we know Bochy and Seager can help lead this team to the top. And next year, Simeon probably won't be in a slump to start the postseason, which is going to make it even easier. And now you get 2 more player acquisition windows to build a bullpen. So I think the Rangers are the smart money, but I don't know if I would place the wager on them to do it because the other 3 teams have a shot before they do, and either one of them could do it. The Cowboys are there. Now that you got motion, Dak running, and the defense didn't collapse after losing Leighton Vander Esch. Tip your cap to Dan Quinn and I guess Bell for being able to hold it down.
Fantastic.
What do you say, Brian?
I think it's the Stars. I just think the Stars are built right now for even being a team that was going into the Western Conference Finals and to add, Duchesne and others to this lineup. And then you got, Wyatt Johnston, young guy that got experience, Mason Marchment. They've got legitimate talent. They have one of the best netminders in the league on a night in, night out basis. I just think, and you've got a coach has a proven track record. So I think that they knocked on the door. I think this time around you'll see them kick that door in, and they'll be a representative in the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, what are these folks saying here on the truckwreck.com fan text? 903 going crotch first today, speaking it into existence. The Cowboys will win it all this year, and the Rangers are going to repeat. Book it. That's very optimistic. I can't rule it out. 817 Stars 99. 12 years later, Mavs in 11. 12 years later, Rangers in 23. Cowboys winning it all in 2035.
Let's go.
That's funny. I sure hope not.
I need it sooner.
12 years is too long to wait for championships in a major city. Rangers very well could go back-to-back if we are being real. It says the 817. 940, we're signing Ohtani and going back-to-back. Now you get to be the team that not only just won the championship, hopefully Ray Davis stays committed with his checkbook, but veterans or players in their prime might look at this as a preferred destination if you're going to make the money equal because of the ability to go get you a championship now. I think this has to be a better free agent destination. I don't know if that's Ohtani or somebody else, but I would love to be CY coming up in these winter meetings.
Yes. You already had it, the great story of CY negotiating with Evaldi and his agent on Christmas Eve, and Evaldi's agent being like, dude, I don't want to work on Christmas Eve, but my client here, Nathan Evaldi, who's a postseason stud, after talking with you a week ago, CY, is hell-bent on becoming a Ranger. He has to become a Ranger, so we'll work into the holiday season until he becomes a Ranger, right. And that's before all of the epicness of this entire season and this last month, and then all culminating into last night. I think you're about to have a lot of players that are going to be interested in playing for this organization. Max Scherzer, who of course signed off on being traded here at the deadline, and I'm sure he's not regretting that in any way now. Seeing him celebrate in the locker room last night and all throughout this run, and the way he was embracing with CY, like CY is just a poster boy for these players to know, I know I'm getting a baseball guy and a dude who wants to win. And that is a place that players are going to want to be for
it's
sure.
CY and it's Bruce Bochy. And they started it 2 years ago. Of course, they paid, right, to go get a Corey Seager and a Marcus Semien, but now you've got the culture, and now you're a World Series champion. The ballpark's beautiful, and now you don't have to worry about playing outside. You got the roof. That's not going to beat people down. That was always, rumored to be, players don't want to come
beat
here
me
because
down.
they eat, right? You don't have to worry about that anymore. I think it's absolutely becoming a destination team.
And whatever they do on top of that, you're going to get DeGrom back late in the year.
Yeah.
And I think you probably give him like 2 or 3 rehab starts where he's pitching 40, 50, 60 pitches, and then the playoffs start, and you're like, go for it, man. Knock yourself out. No pressure. If you get hurt, you get hurt. But, I think it times out well. This team has experience bringing back Scherzer, Eovaldi, and Gray from this year. Guys hurt, not getting huge rehab starts, but being reintegrated into a postseason run. And, if DeGrom's even 75% of what he is at his peak, there's a chance he'd be your best pitcher in the postseason next year. But I think you definitely go build with the idea that he's not coming back. And that idea, those two ideas there are really exciting. I can't wait to see what Ray Davis says, both in the media and then to sources about does he want to go back to back? He was a great asset manager as an oil man. And as an owner for a decade, he treated this thing like he didn't want to invest in winning. CY or something sold him on the idea of spending money to try to win. He went on an epic ride. Does he want to do that again, or does spending that kind of money make his Scrooge instincts get kind of nervous? I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out here in the next couple of months, Brian.
I think it was the fan base that steered him to try.
Yeah.
And I say that with the stadium, the way it was constructed, and the fans went out there, even with losing baseball, and found ways to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and it's a new stadium.
Sure.
And, even, this season, plenty of sellouts, like multiple sellouts for series. I think, it's really easy to spend money when you have money coming through the door.
There's a return on the investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you build a ballpark and nobody shows up and nobody cares about the team, he's making money on concessions, Hurtado Barbecue and others, and us being out there and all that. That you're getting all that promotion. Yeah. So to me, every time we were out there, it seemed like it was a 35,000 night for, and that was even during the season.
Yeah.
There were a lot of series and I remember I listened to all the games. Eric and them telling us, hey, there's a few tickets left for Saturday, but none for, Friday or Sunday. That makes an owner think like, if I keep investing in this, I'm going to keep making money.
If that happens, we're in great shape. And then we got to hear that Bochy wants to come back at 68 years old. I think he could do another 4 or 5 years, but he retired once already. Does he consider this mission accomplished? He is crucial for me to bet on the Rangers to be the team that wins it next. Here's Chiafalo with more on our manager, Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, Rosenthal in The Athletics had a really nice article. Let's get into the clubhouse, the post-game celebration from last night, and this is Bochy addressing the team before we get showered in champagne.
But what you guys did to do this is truly incredible, man. I'm just honored to ride with you to win 11 straight road wins to do this. You guys just wrote history in Texas. Congrats, world champions!
World champions.
Absolutely epic,
Unreal.
man. No one better to lead the charge than Bruce Bochy. Will he remain? He's got 2 years left on his deal. Rosenthal writes, he missed the dugout, he missed the action when he was retired, and after 3 years of that, he wanted to manage again in Germany, trying to help Team France for the WBC last September. That's when he started to get the itch, and then Chris Young, of course, goes to Nashville, persuades him, all right, let's do this thing. We know the quote about his wife, Kim, saying, what is it about your life that you don't like? Like, you're living the dream right now. You're retired, you're a champion, you're a legend already, you're a Hall of Famer already. Why don't you just want to fish and chill for sort of the rest of time here? But, of course, that was not the case. And you have last night throughout the celebrations, you had senior advisor Dayton Moore, who was the Kansas City Royals' former head of baseball operations. And he says, I just think he loves the whole rhythm of his life with baseball. Obviously, still talking about Bochy, and you go through the list of all the amazing guys that he's got on his staff right now, and his coaching staff from top to bottom is just absolutely fantastic. And Bochy ending the Giants' 52-year championship drought in San Francisco. He ends the 52-year championship drought here in Texas. Now to the victor belongs the spoils, says Mr. Rosenthal. And Moore, the architect of the 2015 World Series champion Royals, said, how about this? Spring training after you've won, there's nothing like it. Of course, Bochy will be managing the American League All-Star team in his home park of Globe Life Field next year.
Just like Ray Davis predicted.
Exactly. That line about spring training and there's nothing like it after you've won, I'm already itching to get out to surprise once again.
And that's at our stadium.
That's going to be incredible.
With the Royals. So he's experienced that from what we're going to be experiencing. It is. And I don't think, we got some texts like, do you think Bochy is going to retire? I think worst case scenario, he just plays out the contract. For 3 years, and then maybe you talk about it, but I don't think there's any way Bruce is retiring.
I think
now.
Will Venable's the next coach, your next manager of the Texas Rangers.
That's right.
I think that because Venable is already turning down opportunities to talk to other baseball teams.
We talked about that a week ago.
Yeah. He's turning these things down. I think this is very much as long as Boch wants to do it, Will's going to hang in there, and then here's your transition. He's just learning everything he can from Boch, how to manage the team, how to deal with issues, how to pull the trigger on things. My prediction would be that Will Venables will be your next coach.
Rosenthal writes, he's returning. Of course he's returning. He gets the quote from Chris Young, 100% he's made for this from last night. And the common perception among fans and even within the industry is that bullpen management is Bochy's greatest strength. The Rangers championship will do nothing to dispel that notion. The Rangers people and opponents talk about Bochy. They focus more on his steady demeanor, strong leadership, than even his in-game strategy. And yet Donnie Eckert, the Rangers offensive coordinator and bench coach, it's the combination of passion and people when it comes to Boch. The fire is lit so high, but then his ability to maneuver and have conversations with people and do it in a way that is supportive, transparent, and challenging is a really unique blend. And so They talk about Bochy addressing the Rangers for the first time in spring training and how he talked about how everybody's in this thing together, not just the players and the coaches, but also the athletic trainers, the clubhouse attendants, and the support staff. He wasn't just spouting platitudes. Several of Bochy's coaches are relatively inexperienced, but he's so composed and consistent, he gives them strength. And there was a moment after a loss in late August, catching coach Bobby Wilson told Bochy that he was feeling stressed out, and Bochy tells Wilson, hey, dude, just relax. And saying that he came out of retirement because he wanted to enjoy the game again. And Wilson said hearing that perspective gave him goosebumps. A former major league catcher, he has a file on his computer labeled Bochy Ball. Each day he chronicles the lessons that Bochy has taught him.
Wow. Right.
Everybody just loves and respects him. Everybody wants to play for him. And, Andrew Heaney, it's coming from a guy where it's not bull bleep. He's literally done it. Of all people, he can sit there and say it to you. This is how we're going to do it. This is why this group can do it. And here's how I know how to do it. You're like, hell yeah, who knows better than Boch?
I loved Chris Young on MLB Network post-game. They have him up there, and Albert Pujols was right there, and he's talking about, bringing Boch in. And when he was playing for Bruce, it was a postseason game against St. Louis, and he was like, it was the first time that Boch came out to the mound, and he didn't take me out of the game. He just put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, you got this. You're one of our guys. I believe in you. And it was just the confidence and the belief that he showed. He goes out there and strikes out Albert Pujols, next batter, and gets out of the inning.
A lot of times that's all people need is somebody to believe in them, and it totally changes their outlook on the whole deal. And that's what one of the things Bruce Bochy is fantastic at.